are separated from the boys, and the strongest of all will be decided. Are you ready to witness history in the making? Let's get it on. This is the final. This is where the men are separated from the boys.
Talk about those in like a second. What it was that they discovered was on the camera, the Nikon or Canon.
Yeah, Canon.
You keep telling me and I just keep forgetting. On the night of April 8th, there were 90 photos taken between the hours of 1 a.m. and 4 a.m., 87 of which are just pure black, which suggests that they were trying to signal back with the flash to the search crews. For whatever reason, they weren't mobile or they weren't able to find the search crew, but they saw the signals and were trying to signal back with the flash, and that didn't work.
Apparently not. They should have like climbed up a tree or found some high ground. Maybe
Yeah, that might have done it.
Probably the problem is that if they've got flares, like probably parachute flares up in the air, and so all that light and hoo-ha, and their little dicky flash was just lost in the noise. No doubt.
Yep. I'm going to go through the timeline a little more. Joe was bringing up the phone calls and the pictures and stuff like that, so let's just walk through it. There's an infographic that I got most of this information off of. I've compensated.
Awesome.
It's awesome. There's a couple really great infographics. We'll post links to all of those on the website. But I pull a lot of information off of that, but also from other sources, so just bear with me. We're going to do that thing where I sit and talk at you for a while. Chris had an iPhone. Lisanne had a Galaxy 3 S3. I'm pretty sure that's who had which one, but I could have gotten them flip-flopped. And some of the information, like I said, is hidden like really deep in forums. So I've forgotten where everything came from.
Well, I think what matters is that we know one was an iPhone, an iPhone 4,
Yeah.
and one was a Galaxy S3.
Yes.
And that's
And
the important piece.
the other little tidbit is that like 90% of the information about this story is in either Dutch or Spanish, neither of which I speak or read.
Google can translate that.
Yeah,
for
so
you.
there has
It'll be
been a lot of-
unintelligible, but you can get Google to translate it.
It turns out that Spanish is okay to like get in Google Translate, but Dutch it has a super hard time with. So sometimes you're just kind of left out in the lurch.
Yeah, I've read some of the articles that were from the Netherlands, and people just dumped them into Google Translate and then dumped them into the forums. And you're reading through, and you're correcting it as you read it.
You're trying to though.
But you don't know if you're correcting it correctly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I read one thing, there were some ribs found eventually, and I read somebody had translated it, and the spare ribs were found, and it was
I saw that same
where,
thing.
yeah, so just bear with me, please. On April 1st, at about 11 a.m., they took off. They started the trail. They arrived at the Continental Divide at about 1 p.m. by the sun and the XF data on the camera. People, looked at the pictures and said, yeah, it's about where the sun would be, and also this is what the data suggests. There had been some speculation about the timetables being wrong because people thought that the cameras might have still been on, the XF data recorded on the pictures might have still been on Dutch time, but I don't think that that's true for a number of reasons. Or if it is, it's been changed over. It seems they continued down the other side of the mountain on the Continental
They
Divide.
continued to follow the path.
They continued to follow the path. And this is a fun fact about the Continental Divide. I don't know if, a lot of people follow this or not, but the river would have been running the opposite way, right?
It would have been a different river.
It would have been a different river, and it would have been flowing a different way. So if they had tried to follow a river, thinking, oh, this will take us back to the city, it turns out, no, it won't.
Yeah, when they went to the top of the Continental Divide, and I've looked at the trail, and the trail does follow a river. The side of the divide, it went downhill and found a river and said, oh, hey, there's the river, let's follow it. They would have been heading downstream, but on the opposite side of the peak.
And following a completely different river.
Right.
Yes.
Right. At about 2, speaking of a river, 2 p.m., the last photo of Chris was taken crossing a stream. She looks super happy and calm and relaxed. You know, they're dressed for the weather, the hot weather, tank tops and shorts or, you know, stuff like that. Then at 4:39 p.m., the iPhone tried to dial 112, which is the Dutch equivalent of 911, and I'm pretty sure that Panama uses 911 as 911 as well. Sorry. Numbers and stuff. I'm pretty sure. Anyways, then at 4:51, the Samsung attempts to make the same call. Neither are connected to the network, so neither go through. On April 2nd, at 6:56 a.m., just right after sunrise, the Samsung attempts the 112 call again, which does not go through, obviously. Then at 8:14 a.m., the iPhone tries the 112 call, which was not connected. And a screenshot was taken of that phone right after the call for reasons unknown.
The screen capture function on cell phones is always kind of an awkward thing.
I accidentally take screen caps of my phone.
Yeah,
I know, but you gotta hold this
possible.
button and twist your nose in this right way, or just not know what you're doing and grab it and grip it, and it randomly takes them. So I can just see that randomly happen.
It's possible, yeah.
Yeah, so between the 6:56 call and the 8:14 a.m. call, I presume they must have maneuvered to a higher position.
I don't know.
Hoping that they could.
I don't know.
Make contact.
No, there's no data in that. I mean, right? You have no idea.
Yeah, and they don't, and they didn't realize that there's no 112 in Panama.
Sure.
Apparently.
Yeah. At 10:53 a.m., a magnitude 6.0 earthquake rocks Panama City. But they felt it in Boquete, or however you say.
Boquete,
or whatever.
I don't know.
you're both wrong.
Probably. And at almost this exact moment, when they were feeling this earthquake, the Samsung attempts the 112 and 911 call, both. I think somebody thought, one of the two must have been like, oh yeah, maybe it's 911 here, maybe it's not.
Well, but they've been trying both numbers.
This is the first time they dial 911.
Oh, okay. I was thinking that they had been trying 911 and 112.
Nope, just 112
okay.
Up until this point. The call is not connected again. At 1:56 p.m., the Samsung again attempts a 112/911 call, both. And the 911 call is briefly connected, like for a second, and then drops out.
That's frustrating.
Yeah.
So obviously they must have been moving around trying to.
Theories around that, right? I mean, something obviously must have happened to one of them that made it so that they could not make it back out.
Yeah, probably somebody broke a leg, something like that.
Or got bit by a spider, or we'll talk about that, in theories, but that's one of the things is you can only move around so much. If one of you's not mobile, you're not going to want to just leave your friend and wander because you don't know your way back to that person. You don't want to both be lost separately from each other.
Yeah. This is why you don't go into haunted houses and then split up.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Same theory.
If we've learned anything from horror movies, you don't do that. Yeah.
And always carry a gun.
That moment where it's connected, where the 911 call was connected, is the only time any of these calls was connected. Just as a fact. And then at 9 p.m. that evening, the girls are officially reported missing. On April 3rd, at 8 a.m., the search and rescue teams start to patrol the area with a helicopter. So that's when they finally deployed the next day. At 9:32, the iPhone attempts to make a 911 only call. At this point, I think they had figured out that it's 911.
They gave up on 112 because they connected on 911.
This is the last call that was made for a really long time. Then and the phones are starting to get switched off. They're turning them off, I think.
Smart move.
To preserve battery.
Yeah.
And actually, when you hear how long these phones lasted, it's smart move.
Yeah, because you don't want Pandora trying to run in the background and running your battery down.
Right, totally. Or your phone to be searching constantly for a signal. It'll drain your battery.
Wi-Fi network here.
Yeah. At 1:50 p.m., the iPhone was switched on, and I didn't realize that they can pull data from your iPhone of when it's turned on and when it's turned off, like that it logs every time it's turned on, but apparently they can.
I am not surprised by that at all.
Yeah. And then at 4 p.m., the Samsung was turned on, and 4:16, the iPhone was turned on. That's it for that night. At 4:50 a.m. on April 4th, the Samsung is turned on and then dies. The battery dies at 5 a.m. The iPhone is switched on at 10:16 and 1:42, and that stays super consistent for the next few days. I don't know if one of the girls was wearing a watch or what, but like super consistent. So then on the 5th, the iPhone was switched on at 10:50 a.m. and 1:37 p.m. At 1:37, there was no PIN entered to unlock the phone, which people think is significant for some reason. I think it's probably not really.
I have my ideas, but I'll hold it for the theory section.
Well, now you have an iPhone, right?
Yeah.
And so when you turn yours on, even without putting the pin in, can you look and see how many bars you have?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
no sense putting the pin in if
Yep.
you can see you've got no signal.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then on April 6th, the iPhone is switched on at 10:26 a.m. and 1:37 again p.m. Again, no pin entered at either time. And that was it. Nothing on the 7th. There's no data from the 7th. And then on April 8th, in the early morning, from 1 to 4 a.m. on April 8th, what many people would consider the night of the 7th, right? But it's early morning on the 8th. That's when those 90 pictures were taken with the camera. As mentioned, 87 of them are just black. A lot of people, I haven't seen them, they haven't been released, so a lot of people think maybe the lens cap was on. I don't think cameras take pictures with lens caps on.
This was a point and shoot. It didn't have a lens cap.
Oh, okay.
It has a built-in shutter, but it's one of those ones, as soon as you turn it on, the shutter opens. It's ready to rock.
So for me, that means that they were just taking pictures into the sky.
Possibly.
Right? Because if you're covered, you're going to find as much of an uncovered area as possible. Otherwise, you're going to see reflections of trees and stuff like that. So I don't know. Nobody's seen these pictures. No, I mean, even none of us amateurs have seen these pictures, so I don't know how, quote-unquote, totally black they are. But there are 3 that are not. They have all been released. One was a blurry photo that appeared to be like the back or the side of Chris's head. It's just like her blurry hair. I'll show it to you guys in studio in a second. Links, of course, on the website. One photo of like a rock wall with vegetation overhanging it, and one photo that creeps a lot of people out but doesn't creep me out. That's a small branch with 2 pieces of red plastic tied on it, and there's like either a gum wrapper or like one of those single serving pill packets underneath it. And I guess some people look at that and think that the red plastic is skin, which I literally can't even like talk myself into.
If anybody's ever gone into the woods in an area where they were gonna, let's say, fell trees, or they mark trees, and it's that really thin red material, it's kind of elastic.
Flagging.
Yeah, it's flagging, and that looks like shreds of stuff that's that same consistency of material. It's just little pieces of plastic.
So
Yeah. Now this is a picture on the right, correct?
yeah, I have a better one of that. This is the only one. There's the picture of the side of Chris's head in, but I have the other 2 ones I'll show you just now.
Yeah, let's see.
So this is the one that people talk about being the rock wall. It looks to me more like it's it may just be the orientation, but it kind of looks like a path to me, honestly.
It's hard to tell. It almost looks like ruts, like they're on
Yeah.
a road with wheel ruts.
Or something like that.
Yeah.